to get closer to the Execuors without one of them scramming it first? I'm really curious about that.
Well, it's like really nimble and pancake shaped, so it can go like deceptively fast. Though Tuskers are losing a Bantam right now, that's really good for the Bruggs team, for the Hard Knocks team. But
certainly,
if they'd done that
certainly.
if they'd done it quicker, they might have had a chance.
The thing is,
these Bantams are good in pairs, but they're terrible one by one.
Oh, I don't disagree. The thing is, though, all of this is completely irrelevant just because it is so late in the game at this point. You know, the Bantams have done their work. They kept the Barghest alive and traded it for the Execuor. And now the Hecate is gone, so that's another 500 DPS wiped off the field. So you're left with 2 Brutix Navy issues here against 2 Barghests, and I know immediately what team I would pick every single time if I saw this matchup. Yes, the Brutix Navy issues have links, but it's just not going to make a difference once Barghests have reloaded and have started putting on their DPS, which was recently buffed because, you know, why not? And I just don't understand what Hard Knocks was thinking here with the setup.
All right, so Hard Knocks are losing a Brutix right now. He's dropping into armor really, really quickly. Maybe he's hull tanked. These ships are actually incredibly strong hull tank. So we'll see if that's the ticket to their success. The Hard Knocks team do have quite a bit of ECM still on the field. They've got 10 EC 600s. And okay, he's definitely not structure tanked. He's melting even harder.
Smart bomb's going off now from the Barghest just to clear those drones, but like I said, it doesn't even matter. Really good play here.
Dominating right now. This entire match, this entire series, they've dominated, and this just looks like a severe outplay by the Tuskers team.
Yeah, really good move by the Barghest, staying right on top of each other with the heavy newts. I mean, one of them has, I don't know if, I've seen one smart bomb going. I don't know if they both are smart bomb fit, but there could be potentially 3 heavy newts right there on top of that Brutix Navy. No way it has its hardeners on. No way it's running a link. And on top of that, with the guns as well, I just don't see it happening. For all the people on Reddit that hate me for saying high tier and low tier, this right here is an example of teams that consistently place high in Alliance tournaments, like the Tuskers, versus teams that are good, but not quite at that upper tier level.
Yeah, the Tuskers team is actually incredibly dominant in the Alliance tournament format for the last probably 4 years, I'd say. They consistently finish top 10. They almost always finish top 5, and you always feel like they can make some waves. And they're showing you now why they can right now, just by this great performance. And no mistakes this time from the Tuskers team with their medium shield maintenance bots. They all went on the right targets this time. No one was repping the hostiles. So it's a really good showing. As you can see, damage is going slow right now because these Barghests are in reload. But it's just a cleanup time right now.
So
Elise, Mafia is going down.
I wanted to ask you here about Hard Knocks. It seemed to me that they didn't have any like hugely glaring piloting issues, but it felt to me that every single time we were looking at both of their teams juxtapositioned here on the match, that Tuskers had a better team comp. Do you think that they came into this with just a really lucky 3 games, or do you think that overall that the teams that they had, all 7 of them, were much they had a lot more depth, they had a lot more variety, and they had a large engagement profile where they could handle a greater variety of teams that they were up against? What do you think?
I think Tuskers flipped the meta on the head, and they took teams that we don't generally see in this format. As we see the last Hard Knocks team go down, and Tuskers taking this 3-0. I'm sure the commentators and analysts can talk about it, and we can throw it back to them, because there is a lot to talk about. So this is Elise Randolph out, and Chester as well. We're sending it over to the Booth Boys.
The new high-performance Rig 500 headset from Plantronics is designed to match the skills of an aspiring esport player with the gear they need to win. The new modular system gives you the power to adapt, upgrade, and personalize your headset for the task at hand. The Rig 500 series of gaming headsets are engineered to deliver the perfect combination of durable lightweight comfort in an immersive audio environment. 7.1 surround sound and 24-bit audio provide a stunning 360-degree sound field with directional audio. 40mm drivers with low-frequency resonators provide crisp highs and boosted bass. clear voice noise canceling technology provides clear communication to your teammates. From the headset company that equips the pros, the 500 series was crafted to meet the needs of esports and competitive players around the world. The new Rig 500 series of headsets from Plantronics. Respect the training. Reactions win.
Welcome back after the short break there for commercials. This is actually statistically, and I'm sure that our wonderful producer Sutonia will produce a little sheet with some wonderful statistics very soon. But this is actually, off the top of my head, the first Collides match that hasn't ended 3-1. And indeed, the show has been cut dramatically short by the very brutal and ruthless Tuskers. So I'm very keen to see Sully a little bit later and give him an earful for killing the show so quick. But yeah, well done, Tuskers. So before we hand it over to the analysts, be a little bit more iskies, and we should be having the captains from both teams on very soon as well for a quick chat before we for the next prize. The first 10 correct answers. This is a difficult one. I hope you're going to get it. Like, I didn't actually come up with these questions. We have a wonderful team of 8 people in a think tank for a month that come up with these questions, and this is the one that they came up with. So the correct answers in stream, please. Including faction and limited edition ships, how many are in the game? So again, inclusion and limited edition ships. And the answer is not 42. What is this 42 thing? Jesus. Anyway, okay. I shall hand it over to you, and I look forward to seeing the captains in a moment as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So again, this is actually a win to Tuskers. They wrapped it up in the series best of 5. They won all 3 matches in a row. Really nice fights, and it's easy to look at something like this and say that one team is better than the other, therefore the other team is not good. Certainly not the case. Everybody competing on this level and in this tournament, really, really strong team. But to Chester's point, although I'd like to stay in the good graces of Reddit if at all possible, I was actually going to ask you about this, Chester. I don't want to delve too much into it, but you talk about a tier system and this sort of ethereal ranking in everyone's heads of who's really good and who's really not. Again, everyone here is a high-performing team, but is the team in your mind that is the better team always going to win in a tournament scenario, or is there some factor of luck and metagame that can influence that?
So I first of all, I just want to preface by saying that anyone that competes in a tournament, I think, is awesome and amazing, and I'm not trying to make any disparaging remarks regarding that. What I mean by like the tier levels is, if you have like a master, like if you take the ELO system for example, a very, very high ELO player has an extremely low percentage chance of losing to another person, even if they're just like 2 tiers below them. So while yes, there is definitely some metagaming that can go on in EVE, and you certainly see that hugely in the Alliance tournament, and you can see it in other tournaments too, where people maybe pursue the wrong meta or something like that. In general, teams and their pedigree, and they have that pedigree for a reason, just because of the history that they've built up over time, which shows that they're consistently very, very deadly players. And that's kind of what I talk about when it comes to like, you know, PL, when it comes to Tuskers, you know, when it comes to people that you see and you hear of, like definitely in the Alliance tournament, where everyone that faces them, you're like, oh shit, you know, this is going to be a big match just because it's, you know, so and so playing.
Well, and so I guess that boils me down to a finer point, so I can hopefully bail you somewhat out of the whole of terminology here. Would you say that consistency then is the biggest difference between some of these teams?
Consistency, and then just like their depth of understanding of like just the meta. Like, you know, like for example, this AT, you saw some really crazy PL setups which worked effectively, and that is really amazing. On the other hand, you saw, you know, Hydra Camel, whatever you want to call that, they had some interesting Tinker setups as well. And then here, when you have Tuskers in this 5v5 setup, bringing an ECM comp with a Widow that we've never seen work or even get close to working in it, they pull it off in spades. They make it look easy. You know, that's the kind of like innovation that you're thinking about, you know. While you look at Hard Knocks team, the best thing that they throw out is a typical Mimitar Rush, which, you know, we've seen since week 1, and, you know, there wasn't really any type of good theory crafting or good type of, you know, creative you know, effort there.
We'll have to agree to disagree on the last point, but definitely I can see sort of what you're talking about in that there's a little more conformity to things we've seen before on the Hard Knock side of things. We do have the captains with us, so we'll get to them in just a minute. Suetonia, touch on the very briefly the importance of damage projection and the disparity between the damage projection in these two comps.
Well, the Bargist, they were so the Brutix Navy issues don't have much damage projection, although they were able to get on top of the Bargist anyway and apply the full DPS. The Bargist do have a bonus to missile velocity, so they can shoot really far. There was a Crucifier on the other team that had that was reducing their range with unscripted missile tracking disruptors, or guidance disruptors, sorry, as they're officially called. But they were still able to hit the X-Cura.
And Fozzie, what about the choice on the Hard Knock side to bring the Executor over at T2 Logi? Obviously, they did it to save points to redistribute elsewhere, but we've not seen a super strong showing of T1 Logi. Do you think it made sense there, or maybe it was a mistake?
I mean, they came up against exactly the wrong setup to bring the Tech 1 Logi with. It just got shredded so fast. I think if they'd come up against something where they could have kited more effectively with it, then it may have worked out and the points would have worked out really well elsewhere. But I think, obviously, in this case, the tankier one would have been stronger.
All right, and without further ado, so we're not talking about them while they're in our midst. I see Sule. Okay, so Sule and Hoodie are both here. Suleiman, can you just introduce yourself really quickly, please?
Team captain of Tuskers co-AT team and the EBNT team.
Awesome, and Hoodie, what about you?
Hey, I'm Hoodie, team captain for Hard Knocks in EVNT.
Gotcha. So first off, thanks so much for being here, guys. Great job today. Congratulations to Tuskers. Really nice job by Hard Knocks. And hopefully nothing Chester says upsets you because his opinion is unimportant. The matches were fairly one-sided in match 1 and 3, I believe. But in match 2, there was a bit of a gridlock. It almost came down to a war of attrition. So Hoodie, I'd like to ask you first off, what did you see that ECM comp coming out early from Tuskers, or did you think maybe they would hold that back until later in the series?
It was kind of a toss-up there. I thought I would have held on to it later, which is why we brought the shield setup. I wouldn't call it too much on luck. I mean, they beat us fair and square. We did run up against it with a setup that we really didn't want to. This is the only setup of us that's really, really vulnerable to ECM there, and you see how that worked out for us.
Right, and then something that we talked about a little bit earlier, Suleiman, how did you guys break down? So obviously, Hard Knocks put forward 7 team compositions, as did you all, and you got to ban each other's comps. You get to pick 2 from the enemy teams. How did you guys go about choosing the 2 compositions that you banned from Hard Knocks?
So we just, because you submit 7, they submit 7, so you can see of all the possible matchups, there's 49, and we did a quick look at them and identified the ones we thought were the scariest, or the best comps they had compared to the comps that we had, and we just banned the top two. And there was a bit of we weren't really sure, to be honest. We thought 4 of their comps are really strong. It was those 2 that we banned, the Mimitar Rush as well as the armor version of it with the Astarte and the Confessors. But in the end, I decided to just ban the TFIs because newts are quite problematic in this format where you don't have many ships and everything tends to be quite up in your face, and you're almost always in newt range.
Gotcha. And then, Hoodie, same question to you, I guess. We talked a little bit about the fact that the rapid light missile setup got banned out from your team, but you guys did not reciprocate, and you left the Orthrus and Osprey Navy issue comp open to Tuskers. Obviously, they used it to great effect. Do you stand by that decision, or do you look at that comp now and feel differently after having faced it?
No, I stand by it. I know how strong the comp is. We had it ourselves, and obviously it was almost the same. We had a tiny difference, I think, in ship choices. In fact, we had 2 light missile setups, so we were fully aware of how strong it is. The reason I didn't ban it we didn't ban it because we thought they had a bunch of really strong setups. 3 in particular we wanted banned, and we ended up going for the 2 with the Tech 2 Logi in it, which also happened to focus them all into missiles. 4 out of 5 of their setups rely heavily on missiles. So our idea was to try and pigeonhole them into that and use the new module, the Guidance Disruptor, to throw them off balance. Obviously didn't go as well, but that's the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, it was smart of the commentators to pick up on that E-War coming out, that targeted E-War, and it didn't work as well as maybe you'd hope, but definitely shows the depth of the thinking on both sides of this. So a more general question. Sully, I think you've chatted with us after your first match in this season in T-Collides, correct?
Yep.
Okay, I think both of you did, actually. Go over again. It's a bit of ground that we've already covered, but what's your experience like, and more importantly, what's your entire team's experience been like with the tournament so far? Right now, you're undefeated. You're headed to the finals. That's awesome, but what else is happening outside of these broadcasts that we don't see, and how's it been going for you guys?
So we've been doing similar with Hard Knocks, I guess, like weekly practices. Just because it's particularly in a 5 versus 5 format, it's quite easy to get everyone in your team involved. So rather than having to practice against another team, you get everyone involved and you start theory crafting. We did quite a lot of theory crafting this time with the new command destroyers and Tech 2 Logi frigs, and some of the point change balances, as well as the new missile, also guidance disruptors. So we were just playing around with all those things and just seeing what works now, which wasn't feasible before with all these new ships and modules and hulls. As well as some of the changes like Logi having reps having fall off instead of a strict off.
Right, and I guess in brief, Hoodie, same question to you. I mean, what's it been like as a team experience for you guys to be in this season of NT Collides?
It's been lovely. It's a nice format that really brings out different qualities within the team, and preparing for it and theory crafting is a lot of work goes into it, and it's lovely to do it. So yeah, it's been a pleasure for me and the guys.
Great, and obviously neither of you guys are done with the season. You've got to come back and be bothered by me and the crew at least one more time. Tuskers is going to the final. Your competitor is yet to be determined, and I believe the same for Hard Knocks. I'm terrible with brackets. Brackets and cardinal directions are not my strength, but you guys do have another match to play in this season, so we look forward to seeing that. Any other advice? Any standout moments between the two of you, or anything you guys want to say on behalf of your teams before we sort of wrap it up?
On my half, the Widow comp was I was flying the Widow, and it is the most obnoxious ship to fly ever because it has a very limited jam range. I was using rapid heavies. I couldn't break anything if the Scimitar wasn't jammed, so I had to wait until the Scimitar was jammed before I could really do anything. The jams are short range. The Widow's very low. They could break our, they killed the Hawk through reps, so it was a very, very awkward matchup. I think it was a lot closer than it appeared to be. Yeah, we were tilting. We were pretty close to losing that match, I would say, but we got a little bit fortuitous with the timing of the jam. I think I jammed the Scimitar just after our Hawk went down, so we killed a Sweepable straight after. But the series is, I think, same with the previous one versus PLs. They're a lot closer when you're flying the matches than they appear to be. So even if it might look a bit like a stomp, it's not always the case.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we've touched on that from the outside in, if you were to reduce this to its simplest points, it would look like, oh, Team A has more points than Team B, Team A is better. But that's definitely a match. And the ECM is something I look forward to talking with people a bit more about, especially in this 5v5 format, because it is, I believe it was Sutonia, or one of the commentators said, praying to the random number generator. And it is exactly that. So, Hoodie, anything that stands out for you in your all's matches thus far this season?
Yeah, I think ECM mostly stands out as well. Like you saw it heavily here, not just the Widow, but I think match one most of all, where ECM really got a strong showing. It's of course for Sully's perspective, it's less easy to see. You actually managed to jam our Typhoon 4 cycles in a row with your EC300s in the end there, which was very rough.
I think we also jammed the Punishers in the first match for
when we got tackle on you.
Yeah, because I could see them like 1 kilometer away from me, going 2k a second as I was burning away.
It was extremely frustrating on our comms. Me and the Brutix being 14 kilometers away from you, and like just hearing, "Oh, I'm jammed. I can't tackle him anymore." But you know that's how stuff goes. Sully, extremely well played. It's been a pleasure playing at EVNT, and of course I can't wait to fight for the 3rd place.
Well, on behalf of everyone here, like, thank you guys so much for showing up, put in the effort that you did into this whole thing, and glad to hear you've had fun. You guys have been an immense pleasure to watch, and thankfully we still have more to see from both teams. So with that, I am going to hand it back to the man at the wheel, which is Nash.
Thank you indeed, kind sir. I'll take just a minute to quickly go through everybody a quick reminder of a couple of events coming up very soon before we go to a wonderful CSM advert that you should definitely watch. First off, I want to thank both teams that have attended today. So, Hoodie, thank you very much. And obviously the Tuskers under command of Sully, again, really well done. I'm a little bit annoyed that you finished the show so early, but well played. Other than that, we have a massive list of staff that has worked on this again tonight, so I'll start from the top of the TeamSpeak list. We have BRJ here with us. We have Tyrandian Hazard, who did all the streaming for you. We've got Dwygon Armor, we've got Sutia, the wonderful Mr. CCP Vozzy. We had with us tonight Tiberius Stargazer as well. Unfortunately, didn't get any time to plug our news site, but we'll get around to that next time. If you are looking for any jobs, though, or want to contribute to anything we do at EVNT, please make sure you poke me or him at some point in the near future. I want to thank Chesser, Elise Randolph, Gorski Car, Hoodie Mafia, the wonderful Rain, and we had with us for at least some time Apoth as well, who unfortunately cut out. A quick thank you to our sponsors. So sponsors for the Collide series, we have Chill Blast and Plantronics, providing gear and equipment for the charity raffle at EVNT Nottingham, and obviously EveBet, who allow me to actually pay people to do this, which is absolutely amazing. I love these guys. Thank you very much. Which leaves me to quickly close on a couple of things that we've got coming up. So EVNT Nottingham is indeed on the 19th and 20th of February. We still have a couple of tickets left. So if you haven't been, just fucking do it. It's amazing. It's really good. If you have been before, I don't have to sell this to you. You know how this works. We've got different content again. We've got obviously the tournament, which is super popular, where we will be giving away lots of prizes. We've got some really good gear coming in from Cooler Master and Plantronics and Chill Blast and several other people. We also have retro arcade machines this time, some table football to please Rocket X with his little games after he gets a bit too drunk, so that should be good, and various other things. So please make sure that you attend. We've got 3 CCP devs there who will be doing some talks as well, which is going to be really good. I'm looking forward to that. Some Citadel stuff to talk about, which hopefully we'll get to discuss a bit more next time. Additionally, the other things that we have going on ourselves personally, we have on the 28th of February, we have Fight Club. So this is the lower tier league. That sounds a bit degrading, but that's not how I meant it. It's the other league that we do, which is possibly a format that we will copy a little bit for next season. But yeah, make sure you watch and tune in for that one. So that is on the 28th of February. And the next Collides match is on the 6th of March. And again, we will be determining there who is going to turn up in the final and who will be playing for third and fourth. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much, and I highly recommend that you watch the next video and make sure you vote for the CSM. Thank you very much, and see you again.